I'm Chris Bitharis, a junior on the men's soccer team. I would like to thank all of our current PEF members for your support of the Bears Club. Your contributions have made it possible for me and other student athletes here at Lenoir-Rhyne to fulfill our dreams of participating in intercollegiate athletics. If you are not currently a Bears Club member, I hope you will take this opportunity to join our team today. Thanks again for your support, and go Bears!
Thank you, John. Before we talk about the Limestone game or look ahead to our next opponent, Carson Newman, I'd just like to address that there is a fundraiser for Ashley Casey. Coach Tom Casey, our defensive coordinator, his daughter Ashley is battling cancer. She's already beat it once. She's in the process of beating it again. But there is a fundraiser. It's going to be Wednesday, October 7th. And Chris Peranto is coming as a guest speaker, as a special guest of our program. Chris is one of the heroes of the Benghazi story. There's a motion picture coming out. He's also the co-author of the best-selling book chronicling the Benghazi events. So the title of the movie is 13 Hours in Benghazi. And it'll be a great evening and a great benefit to the Casey family. And I believe it's $40 per individual and $75 per couple. So look forward to seeing all our Bear supporters there in support of our program, and more specifically Ashley Casey. Reflecting back upon the Limestone game, it was our best team win, I would say, today. The most complete football game we'd played all season, and that was good to see, considering it was our fourth straight road game, and there were some challenges associated with that contest. Again, being on the road once again, playing in adverse weather conditions in a rainstorm all evening, having some significant and key players out because of injury, and our guys really answered the call and played well in a clean football game. Defensively, I thought it was the best we played. We didn't pitch a perfect game by any stretch, but we continue to be very opportunistic defensively. And anytime you win the turnover battle 3-0 like we did, you stand a great chance of winning the football game. And we got 3 interceptions defensively. Had a couple of other opportunities as well, but we got 3. And like I said, played well and got them off the field by and large. Some real standouts. I thought Jerry Shippey saw extended action and really made his presence felt. He's a physical force and played well. Chris Green played well up front. We come to expect that from Chris, but he can be a dominating force in the interior line of scrimmage defensively. We missed Placid Ajoku last week, and guys stepped in. Kalen Elkins came in and played a whale of a game. Had 7 tackles, a half a sack, a tackle for loss, and it was very productive. I thought our defensive end, in large, played well. In the secondary, Kyle Duggars continues to stand out. Kyle had, 5 tackles. He had an interception again, which I believe is his 3rd on the year. And then also in the kicking game, he had the scoop and score off a blocked punt for another touchdown. So he continues to play well. Schaefer and Kincaid are fixtures back there playing well, and Rodney Singleton got in there for Chris Schaefer and played well as a tandem back there. So there's some good things going on defensively. Hunter Toomey is making his presence felt every week as well. He's a big, strong, physical kid. He's only a freshman, as is Duggar. We got some young guys out there. Our kicking game, there were some great things that went on in the kicking game. There was 1 or 2 things that'll break your heart. But the fact that we blocked 2 punts in a game, anytime you block a punt in a game, you stand a great chance of winning that contest. And the fact we blocked 2, and more specifically, Ivan Milliken blocked 2. And Ivan is a redshirt freshman. He's very fast and an explosive athlete, and he can get there in a hurry. And then, like I said, Kyle scooped and scored and was ball aware and was in the right place at the right time. So that was huge. We also had a fake on a conversion early in the game that was well executed by our field goal PAT team. And then we'll continue to kick the ball very well. And I say Hunter Hare continues to kick the ball very well as our kickoff guy. And, again, he was perfect on the night, making the 1 attempted field goal that we actually could hold and get down. and then made all of his PATs again. So that was encouraging. Obviously, we dropped the one field goal attempt that slipped through our hands in the rain, and then we got caught once on a fake punt at midfield on 4th and 5 towards the back end of the third quarter. And then we failed to recover an onside kick, which I actually would contest we did recover. But those things get pretty nasty under those piles sometimes, and you have to come up with it. So again, solid performance, and again, Mikey DeStevens punted well when we were forced to punt, which was 3 times. Offensively, it was a workmanlike, efficient performance. Chris Dan Ivory played well. I think he averaged over 11 yards a carry and had 150-some yards and 2 touchdowns. Our B-backs, the tandem of Mike Patrick and Kevin Eckel, continued to perform well. They both ran for 59 yards, and that's excellent production inside. And to a degree, that's what the defense was giving us last week. They had watched the Tusculum tape and were pretty determined to keep the ball out of Evans' hands and force the ball inside, and by and large we obliged and we're successful. Again, it was anytime you rush for close to 400 yards, you're doing good things up front. Dale Howard, I thought, played his best football game of the season at center. Jaleel Roberts continues to play well at right guard. Jacob Slagle at left tackle. In Joe Ray's absence, Jake Sutherland's played just fabulous football the last 2 weeks at right tackle. And then Isaac Saxon filling in for Tyler Evans the last 3 contests, I should say, continues to be a solid force there at left guard. So with Joe Ray hopefully coming back this week, I know that question is going to be asked. We anticipate having Joe back. We'll just be a stronger football team because all those guys are getting quality experience. So Evan played well at quarterback. Again, he was efficient. He operated the game well. And like I said, we kept the ball off the ground as an offense, which was a real challenge in those conditions. That's a testament to our guys' fundamentals and their ball awareness. Our receivers, I thought, played our best game of the season outside. They're the unsung heroes in our offense. They don't get enough credit because they're out there doing the hard jobs all day long, and they don't get their name in the papers like some receivers maybe that are in other styles of play. But Grayson Wells played a whale of a game outside. He played with tremendous effort. We really dominated that game on the perimeter outside. Vic Brannon and Pat Rendelman as well just did super jobs on the perimeter. And you see those long runs. This is an offense where it's a we offense. It's not a me offense. And it takes all 11 to get that ball down the field. And our receivers are, anytime those plays are breaking for long yards, that tells you those receivers are doing some great things downfield. And Coach Anderson had those guys playing really hard last Saturday night. Pat Rendelman made a spectacular catch as well. Our passing efficiency may have been the highest in all of college football this last week. We were 1 for 1 for 44 yards. And it was a great catch by Pat. So, and a heck of a throw by Evan on the run. So there were some good things there and some things to build on. And for Pat, what a confidence builder making a big play like that. So, again, a lot of encouraging things from last Saturday. And again, we have looking forward now, we know what's ahead. It's a formidable opponent coming in Carson Newman, a well-respected opponent with a proud tradition, and it's going to be one heck of a contest. We're excited to be back at home. I didn't realize we were allowed to play a home contest. I just thought we had a nice new practice field. So it's nice we actually get to come play a football game here between the bricks at Moretz Stadium, and I know we'll have a great crowd, and we'll be excited to play. With that being said, I'll take any questions, either reflecting back to the Limestone contest or looking forward here to Carson Newman.
Carson Newman's always been there, knocking on the door over the past 4 years when LR's been a 4-time champ. Just talk to us about how important this matchup is to the overall South Atlantic Conference picture.
Well, there's always implications when Lenoir-Rhyne and Carson Newman get together. Carson Newman and Coach Sparks, which you can't say one without the other. They've set the standard really for Division II football in this region for quite some time, and now we're playing at a pretty good level as well here. So it's going to be a heck of a contest. We know that. We have great respect for Coach Sparks and the Eagles and their program, and it's a big time football game. And these are the games as a player and as a coach you get especially excited about. That being said, it's the only game we get this week also. Our goal is to be 1-0 this week, like it is every week. So you can't blow it out of proportion. But is it an important game? Yes. Is it a conference game? Yes. Are there implications beyond that? Quite possibly. Like I said, you got to focus, stay in the moment, and just get ready for the next play.
I would imagine it doesn't take too much to get your players hyped up about this matchup.
No, and it won't take much for Coach Sparks to get his players excited about the game. And we'll have everybody's attention this week, and so will they. And everyone will put their best foot forward this Saturday. And when we all look up after 4 quarters or longer than that, then we'll see where we all stand.
Obviously, rainy conditions Saturday this past week. No problems holding on to the ball. You recovered it except for that one mess up there in the kicking game. Anything you guys did differently this week to try to protect the football during those conditions?
Well, like I said, I went back when we did turn over the previous week. We just have to have great confidence and trust in our habits associated with the football, and we do. You can't freak out. You can't develop a phobia. You just got to go play. And our guys, to their credit, did that. We did develop. We did work on having the ball pretty wet during practice because we anticipated that. We practiced with a wet ball all week. Maybe we should do that even when we know it's going to be dry. Obviously the results were great. That being said, there was, the guys took it upon themselves and they executed. It's not like they're not trying to do that all the time. It's just, it's football. That ball's shaped kind of funny, and there's those other defenders are after it sometimes. So, like I said, there's never an excuse for a turnover offensively. They're all avoidable, in our opinion. We just got to keep working hard at the fundamentals associated with football, and like I said, hopefully we can play airtight once again this Saturday. It's going to be a key to the football game for both squads.
How important is it to get an early lead and maintain that against this? I know that's important in every game, I guess. But,
well, I think.
Against a team that can put up points.
Well, I think it's a formula for both teams, right? I mean, both of us are ball control running offense. I say that Carson Newman is so dang explosive. They're not ball control. They score too fast to be ball control. They only had the ball, I think, in their last contest for 23, 24 minutes. Morris Hill had the ball for 100 plays in 30, 35, 36 minutes, whatever it was. So, I think time of possession is overrated. What we need to be is efficient. We need to be efficient with our drives, and they're looking at the same thing. But they're a monster to defend because they're one of the few teams in the country running split back veer, and they've been there and done it forever. And so it's difficult on everybody because they know their offense against your defense better than your defense against that offense, because they're doing it 365 days of the year, and everyone else gets ready for 2 or 3 days of practice for it. On the flip side, it's almost the same thing that we can say. And I think Carson Newman's done an excellent job. Coach Sparks, he's a pretty sharp guy. He's been around a little while, and he's won more games than Bear Bryant. All right, so this is the 4th game they've played already against an option offense. So you can go back to us and Brevard a year ago as well. They're not going to be surprised by what they're looking at.
Going off of that, last year at Carson Newman, LR did have an early lead, and a few mistakes and a turnover right before the half led to a closer score for the Eagles. So I guess maintaining and ensuring that doesn't happen again, what's the approach?
Well, we'd be fortunate to be in the same position and obviously get in front. It's football. They got great players and coaches, and we're just going to go play the game. Go play the game, and like I said, take it one play at a time. Anytime you are fortunate enough to get up in a lead, then obviously ball security and maintaining those possessions and capitalizing on those possessions is of paramount importance. You let someone hang around and stick around, and then eventually they'll find their way back in the football game. To Carson Newman credit, a year ago, they kept playing hard, and they fought back in it, and they made some plays on both sides of the football to get back in it. And that game could have gone either way, frankly, in the 4th quarter. We were fortunate to win our way. And to some of our guys' credit, we made some plays too. But it's 2 evenly matched teams. I mean, you're talking about 2 of the better teams in the region, and you're talking about people that the players are out there, are talented, and people know what they're doing. So that's why everyone gets excited. It's a heck of a matchup.
What are going to be some of those specific defensive keys to halting that big play ability?
Well, it's really difficult. Obviously they have the conference player of the week in Baker at running back. He's a force. He had a heck of a game against us last year, and that was his first year in the system. And he's grown. He's the best back we've seen, and maybe we'll see. He's a big, fast, physical. He's what you're looking for in a running back. I'm not sure we'll be able to completely stop him. We won't. We'll hope to contain him to a degree. And they had a couple of other backs on the other side. One ran for, I believe, 113 yards last Saturday as well on 13 or 14 carries. So they're talented. The quarterback is he's the one that makes it all go. He's a veteran. He's not going to be fooled by anything. He's a senior. He's talented, and he's the straw that stirs the drink for them offensively. His arm is different, and they have some receivers that are real weapons, and they have the ability to beat you if you're not paying attention. They can hurt you in the passing game as well. So they're a real challenge. And like I said, they know exactly what they're doing. They have the answers for what you're doing. Hopefully we can match up and make some plays defensively and stay in coverage on the back end. And like I said, continue to be opportunistic and get some takeaways and maybe a short field for us on offense. Sir.
What on earth did Kickoff do to them to keep the score so low?
Well, yeah, they played very well defensively. I'll say Catawba had a good scheme, and they have. I think Catawba is very talented defensively, and arguably playing some of the best defense in our region right now. So, like I said, they had a good plan. Now, other people have tried the same plan and haven't been quite so successful. So, like I said, I think some of it came down to personnel and possibly Carson Newman didn't play their best football that Saturday.
Coach, the last 4 or 5 weeks, however long we've been here, you said you guys are approaching it with the road warrior mentality. Now that you are back between the bricks, how do preparations and game day activities change a little bit, even from the mundane to some of the other items?
Well, I think it's a challenge in the fact that we haven't done it yet this year. We have some freshman players that certainly haven't done it, ever. So anytime you're at home, there's some added distractions that come along with being at home. Like, okay, who do I get my tickets for? And all these other things that are attached to a home game that they haven't had to worry about yet. So I think that's part of it. But when it all settles down, we're going to be playing on a 100-yard field, and there's going to be 11 aggressors on the other side of the football, and we're going to go tee it up and go play.
You mentioned Hunter Hare earlier, and just going into the thick of conference play, how important is it to have a guy that you're totally confident in the kicking game to get you out of some tight situations at times?
Well, our specialist, to include Mikey DeStevens in that conversation, is our punter. He's been punting the ball well this year. But Hunter's been, I don't want to say a pleasant surprise, but he's just really taken ownership of that position, really growing into it. And he has a big-time leg, and he's in great rhythm right now, and he'll stay there because his fundamentals are now finally in place. He struggled with it a little year ago, and we had Justin there a year ago as an all-conference kicker. And Hunter is probably one of the greatest success stories on our team so far to this season, a third of the way through the season. The way he's kicking the ball, not just the PATs and field goals, but the kickoffs as well. He's extraordinary. He's having a great season. I would contend he's an all-conference type performer. Obviously, there's a lot of football left to be played.
Any other players that you are hoping to look for that breakout performance that they just haven't had yet this season?
Well, I think defensively, in general, I think we're getting better and better, and I think we'll need to be playing our best football defense with this Saturday because this is without question the best offense we played and the most explosive offense we played. This is as challenging an offense to contain as anything we'll see all season. They're very good at what they do. They're different at what they do. They have excellent team speed, and they play hard. And so that's what good teams do. Coach Sparks is as good as there's ever been at doing it. So, like I said, we have a real challenge, but I think defensively, I think the arrow's pointed up for us. I think we played faster, we played a more physical brand than we're used to seeing out of our guys. And, reflecting back to last Saturday, I thought we won the physical battle. Can we do that again against a quality opponent like Carson Newman? Like I said, that's going to be measured on Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, I should say.
The sideline was more active Saturday than they have been all year. Was there anything specifically like from the coaches, or did a player step up, or some players step up to make that happen?
I think that's a good question. They were. Our guys were excited to play, which I was, as a coach, you get concerned about that. Your 4th straight road game, you know what's in front of you the following week. We don't want to talk about that, but everyone knows what's sitting there. And our guys were fired up to play. And I think there was some great internal leadership on our team that made sure our guys were all ready to play. Where the coaches don't have to say anything. That's the best type of leadership there is, when those guys inside the huddles or in the locker room or in a meeting can speak freely and make sure our mentality is where it needs to be heading into that contest, and it certainly was. And that's a great sign. And for a young team, and for a team that I've repeatedly said is growing, I thought we took a big step forward as far as the mental game and our preparation for that last football game.
You mentioned Patrick Rendelman a couple of times, coming in as a quarterback and now a senior emerging as a receiver. Can you talk more about what he's done and how he's prepared himself to make that switch?
Well, Pat's worked. He's a hard worker, and he was a quarterback in high school. As we have a lot of guys on this roster that were quarterbacks in high school, because typically there's some of the best athletes on the team, and their athleticism lends itself to other positions. We talk about position flexibility in the recruiting process with those guys. So if they aren't the quarterback, they got to have to care that they are a football player at whatever position. And Pat's one of those guys that's embraced that, and he's really come on. And he's quiet, Pat's a quiet, kind of a no-nonsense kid, and he's been through a lot. He was in a car accident last spring, and that took him away from us for a little bit. He's fought back to get healthy and be right, and I had a good training camp, and he's really played well given his opportunities to play, and with continued performance like he had last Saturday night, he's going to be on the field more, which is a great benefit, to Grayson and Vic, and to have some depth out there, and we are beginning to establish some depth at receiver that really helps us. All right, with that being said, I just encourage everyone to get between the bricks. We're anticipating a record-setting crowd this Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a big-time football game on a big-time stage against a big-time opponent. Great opportunity for the Bears, great opportunity to be back home in front of our people between the bricks. Look forward to seeing you all there. Go Bears.